Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about adding and subtracting integers using battle boxes. So I was trying to get a little cute let's get ready to rumble sound bite, but I couldn't get it, so you'll just have to bear with me. So when we talk about battle boxes are these things right here. And it's just an easy tool that'll help you as you add and subtract integers, so it helps clarify the process a little bit and make it a little bit easier on you. Okay, so take out your notes. We're using page 32, and if you weren't in school on Friday and you needed your notes, they are posted below, clean copies, so you can print them off and go ahead and complete your notes with us. Again, our SOL is always modeling, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of integers, and today we're going to be adding and subtracting integers but without any models. So this is a little bit more intense and the numbers are a lot bigger. So as always, our process is the same. Step number 1, if you look in your notes, is to eliminate the double signs. Then, oh, and before I forget, who's this guy? We always use, okay, my pen's disappearing. We use integer Bob here to help us out, and he's got 2 negative eyes and a positive nose. So we use him to cover up to tell us when we're getting rid of our double signs, which one is left. Then rewrite your expression if you had a double sign. If you didn't, all you have to do is circle your integers and include the sign that's in front of the number, not the one behind, in front. And then you're going to draw your battle boxes if it's a problem that hasn't already had them drawn for you. Your battle boxes are simply just a square with a positive sign underneath and then a second square with a negative sign underneath. That's all your battle boxes are, and we're going to go through that process today. Then you're going to place the number for each integer without its sign in the matching box. So what I mean by that, we'll go through a sample problem, but if I had, for these examples, if I had a positive 5, that positive 5 is going to go in the positive box without its sign. That's what we mean. Okay. So then the last step is to ask yourself 3 questions, and these 3 questions you're going to need to know because they're basically solving the process for you or solving the problem for you. So your first step is which box has more in it, the value is bigger, and all we're looking for here is either a plus sign or a minus sign. That's all we're looking for. You don't have to write positive, you don't have to write negative, just a positive, write a plus sign or a negative sign. Then when we say how much more, if your signs are different, you're going to take your largest number minus the smallest number to find how much more. Now, if they're all in the same box, that's easy. What are you going to do? Just like when they were all the same color in your counters, you're just going to add them up. The final step, so that's step 2, the final step is what is your answer? And all you're going to do is combine step 1 with step 2 and rewrite the number. So you're going to have your sign, positive or negative, and then your number here. So that's just combining all of those steps. So let's look at our example. This is an example that we've seen before. So if we look here, I got double signs. I need to get rid of those. So I'm going to use integer Bob to help me. I've got a positive and a negative. Get rid of those. I have 1 negative left, so I'm going to rewrite it as 4 minus 5. Next step, I'm going to circle my 2 integers with the sign in front. So I have a positive 4 and a negative 5. So if I've rewritten them, positive 4 is going to go in this box, and my negative 5 is going to go in my negative box. So here's my negative box, here's my positive box. So rewrite your 4 in here and your 5 in here. It's that simple. Rewrite your problem, write the number in the box. Now, ask yourself which box has more. Well, which one's bigger, 4 or 5? And the answer is this one. This one has the most. How much more does it have? Well, they're in different boxes, so I have to subtract. My subtraction yields, oh, sorry, I forgot to write. My negative has the most box, the negative box has the most. And then how much more? The answer is 1. So now all I'm going to do is take this and combine them so that my answer is -1. So my answer up here is -1. And that's all that the battle boxes are going to do. It's just simplifying the process so when our numbers get really big, it makes it easier on us and it doesn't get overwhelming. So now let's get ready to rumble or do some practice problems. I wish I had my little sound or a song so I could play. Let's get ready to rumble. Okay, now that I've been silly. This one, I do not have any double signs here, so all I have to do is circle my digits. I have a +10 and a +12. Those are both positive, so I'm going to write them in the positive box. Now, do I have anything in the negative box? No. So this one automatically has the most. So for question 1, my answer is positive. How much more? Well, they're all in the same box, so I'm going to add them together. How many positives do I have altogether? I have 22. So my answer is just the positive sign and the 22 combined together. Now, when we're in middle school, do we ever write +22? No, we just write 22 because we know all of the numbers that we just write on their own are positive. For the next one, oops, I have a double sign here, so I got to get rid of it. So let's rewrite using integer Bob. Tell me what I need, Mr. Bob. I have a positive and a negative. Get rid of those. What's left is a negative, so rewrite as -15 minus 23. Now I'm going to circle my integers. I have a -15 and a -23, so I'm going to write 15 in here and 23. They both go in the negative box because they're both negative. So obviously, which one has the most? The negative box has the most. How much does it have? We got to add those together because they're in the same box. They have 38. So my answer is -38. So far, that should be pretty easy. The battle boxes are there to help you, to clarify, to make things easier. However, if you're finding it a little confusing, we're going to keep doing some more practice. And then when we're in class next Tuesday, I will teach you guys a song to help you with the other parts of the integers. Let me change the color. Let's use blue. Okay, so for this one, I do not have double signs, so I don't have to rewrite it. All I have to do is circle my integers. I have a -51 and the +13. So the negative is going to go in this box, my negative box, and the 13 is going to go in my positive box. Now, which box has more? My 51 is bigger than my 13, so my negative box has the most. So I'm going to put my negative box has the most. Now I have to figure out how much more. Now, these are in different boxes, so I'm going to subtract to find how much more. So I cannot subtract 3 from 1, so I have to borrow from my 5. That makes this 11 minus 3, which is 8. 4 minus 1 is 3. So my answer is 38. So if I combine the first step and the second step, then my answer for everything is -38. I just realized that my answer for 2 and 3 are exactly the same. Okay. For the next one, do I have double signs is your first question? I do, so I have to rewrite it. Let's see what Bob has to say. If we have a positive, sorry, that looks like a positive. So we have a positive and a negative. Get rid of those. What's left is a negative. I'm going to rewrite it down here, but you guys can write it up above. Positive 24 minus 19. Now I'm going to circle my integers. I have a positive 24 and a negative 19, so positive 24 goes here in the positive box. Negative 19 goes in the negative box. Which one has more? That would be my positive box. So then we have to figure out how much more. So let's subtract because they're in different boxes. 14 minus 9 is 5. And I already subtract 1 minus 1 is 0. So my answer is 5. So combine the first step and the second step and I get a positive 5. But of course we know as middle schoolers that it's just 5. So hopefully that has made a little bit more sense to you. We're going to continue to do some more practice, and the last two on this next page I'm going to have you do on your own. So let's look at our first step. We have to say, do we have double signs here? We have a negative 5 plus a negative 28, and we do. So we're going to rewrite that. Use your integer man or integer Bob. We have a positive and a negative, so let's get rid of that. And we rewrite it as negative 5 minus 26. Next step is to circle your integers, a negative 5 and a negative 26. They're both negative, so they're both heading down here to the negative box. Since they're all in the same box, we know that the negative is the one with the most, and we have to add, since they're in the same box. 6 plus 5 is 11. Carry your 1. I get 31. My answer is going to take my sign and my number and combine them. So my answer is negative 31. Okay, for the next one, do I have a double sign in the middle? I do not. I only have a plus sign, so that's just a single digit. So circle your negative 18, circle your positive 27. The negative is going to go in the negative box. Positive is going to go in the positive box. Now, which box has more, 27 or 18? 27 is the bigger box, so put a plus sign for which one has more. We're going to subtract because they're in different boxes. Borrow from your 2, make that 17. 17 minus 8 is 9. So then you combine step 1 and step 2 to get a positive 9 for your answer. Or we just write it as 9. Okay. I want you to pause the video, try 7 and 8 on your own. Once you've gotten the answer, then restart the video and double check and see if you did it on your own. All right, welcome back. For number 7, we do have a double sign, so we have to have Bob help us out. We have a positive and a negative, so let's get rid of those. Rewrite it as 12 minus 25. We have a positive 12 and a negative 25. Positive 12 goes in the positive box, negative 25 goes in the negative box. Which is bigger, 12 or 25? 25 is bigger, so our negative box is going to be bigger. Then we're going to subtract 25 minus 12, and we get 13. So our answer is combining first step and second step, and we get a negative 13 as our answer. Okay, the last one, hopefully you did well on that one. The last one also has double signs. So we are going to use integer Bob, have him help us out. We have a positive and a negative, get rid of those. I'm left with just a negative. So I'm going to rewrite it as negative 29 minus 24. Oh, did you see that? I wrote a 25. I'm ready to go home. Okay, they're both negative numbers. So they're both going to go in the negative box. And when they're in the same box, we add them. We know that the negative is going to have the most, so we have 29 plus 24. 9 plus 4 is 13, carry the 1. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So my total answer is negative 53. I'm going to just circle it down here because there's a lot going up there. Okay, so hopefully that makes a lot of sense. You can see that we can add and subtract larger numbers very easily. Hopefully that makes sense to you. The next step that I wanted to go over is what are the three questions that we're asking? On all of the notes, I gave them to you. Which box has more? How many more? And answer. So what are the three questions that we have to ask? Go ahead and write those down. So the first one is, which box has more? What do I do when I ask myself that question? Which box has more? All I'm doing is writing a positive or a negative. Those are positive and negative signs. That's all I'm writing, and I'm writing a positive or a negative, determining is it a positive answer or a negative answer based on which box has the bigger number. Then I have to know how much more. And what am I doing to find that? I take largest minus the smallest. So that's subtract if they're in different boxes. And add for the same. And then the final is to find out what the answer is. And what do? Combine. Combine steps 1 and 2. If you haven't already filled that in, go ahead and pause the video, finish writing that in, and then once you've finished, then restart the video because we're going to go on to some word problems. Okay, one of the things you have to know how to do is solve word problems involving integers. So I'm going to do 4 of them with you, and then you're going to do the other 4 for your Edmodo quiz. So if you look at number 1, these are a little bit different. It's talking about the highest temperature ever recorded on Earth and the lowest temperature. So you see that we have the highest temperature was 136 degrees in Libya, and then we have the lowest temperature was negative 129 degrees Fahrenheit in Antarctica. They want to know the range. Well, we know that when we find the range, it's highest minus lowest. However, these questions, I want you to think of a temperature gauge or thermometer. You've got 0 in the middle. We've got 136 degrees way up here at the top, and then you've got negative 129 degrees all the way here at the bottom. So when they're talking about the range, they're talking from the highest to the lowest. So they're talking about all the way down. How far did I travel? If you think about what we talked about with absolute value, that's the distance from 0. So with this example, from here to here, I went 136, a distance of 136. And then from 0 to the lowest, I want a distance of 129. To find the range, you have to combine those. So when you see those range questions, and I want you to visualize this thermometer, because you're thinking absolute value, not actual operations with integers. So with absolute value, I take this distance, which is 136, and I have to add it to this distance, which is 129, even though it's in the negative, because that's the whole distance that I've traveled. So even though they're on different sides of 0, don't let that confuse you. You're looking at the absolute value. The absolute value of negative 129 is always positive, so it'd be 129, and the absolute value of 136 is also positive as 136. So now all I have to do is add them. 6 plus 9 is 15. Carry your 1. 3 plus 2 is 5. Plus 1 is 6. And then I get 265. So the actual answer is 265 degrees. Okay, for our next question, this one's very, very, very similar. And what I want you to think about when you are doing word problems is to draw pictures. So this is talking about the Dead Sea, which we know is going to be water. So we got the Dead Sea here. And then we've got a plateau, which is like a mountain. So we know, we talked about this in class, that sea level is equal to 0. And this says that the deepest part of the Dead Sea is 799 meters below sea level. And if something's below sea level, we know that that means it's negative. And the plateau to the east of the Dead Sea rises, which is positive, 134 or 1,340 meters above sea level, which would be a positive because I'm going above sea level. Okay, just like the last problem, you're talking about the distance from 0 here and the distance from 0 here. So I have a distance going this way of 1,340, and the distance, even though it's going to the negative, it's absolute value, so it's always positive, and that's 799. And what would I do with those? I add them together to find the distance between, or the difference between the deepest and the top of the plateau. Add them together. 0 plus 9 is 9. 4 plus 9 is 13. Carry the 1. 7 plus 3 is 10. Plus 1 more is 11. Carry your 1. I get 2,139, and that's meters. Don't forget to label your answer because this is word problems. Okay, the next one, the record high temperature for a certain U.S. state. Notice we all do these with temperatures because these are the ones you're going to see on your SOL. The record high temperature is 104. The record low temperature for the same state is negative 14. What is the difference or distance between the record high and low temperatures? So I'm going to draw my little thermometer here. We got 0 in the middle. The high was 104. The low was 14 or negative 14. To find the distance, what am I doing? I have to go, or find the difference, I have to go from the 104 to 0, and then I have to go from the 0 to the negative 14. So again, this looks like absolute value. It's the distance I traveled from 0 in both directions. So I have 104 going up to the highest and 14 going from 0 to the lowest, and because it's absolute value, it's always positive. So I add them. 4 plus 4 is 8, 0 plus 1 is 1, and then I have nothing here, so it's just 118, and that's degrees. Okay, last one we're going to do together, and then the rest of them are yours for Edmodo. So if you look at number 4, it says in 4 plays, so we know that I'm going to add or subtract 4 numbers. The Tigers football team gained 15 yards, gained 4 yards, lost 12 yards, and gained 8 yards. And they want to know what's their net movement or what they ended up, where they ended up. So if we start, let's rewrite each of these as an integer. So gained 15 is a positive, so we're going to put plus 15. Gained 4 yards is also a positive integer, so we're going to just put plus 4. Lost 12 is a negative integer, so we're going to put negative 12, which is the same as subtracting 12. and then gained 8 yards is a positive, so we're going to write positive 8. Now we're just going to circle all of our digits. We have positive 15, positive 4, negative 12, positive 8. Let's draw our battle boxes and get ready to rumble. Make sure they're big enough to contain all the numbers. We have a positive battle box and a negative battle box. Who's going to win? We have positive 15, we have positive 4, negative 12, and positive 8. So we've got lots of numbers going on here and this positive box, so let's add them all together. We have 15 plus 4 gives me 19, plus 8 gives me 27. And I have this lowly little 12. Remember the 3 questions you're asking yourself. Which one had the most? That would be the positive box. By how much? Since they're in different boxes, we have to subtract. So we have 27 minus 12. That gives me 5 and 1. So how much is 15? And then your answer, you combine both of those. So it's going to be a positive 15. All right, so we got 15 as our answer. Don't forget, you have to label it. It's yards because it's football. Oops, I didn't spell that right. Okay, so for the last 4 problems, you are going to complete those. Use your battle boxes or think absolute value, and then you will input those answers in the Edmodo quiz. So make sure you solve those and show your work. And then you will have some other questions that are similar that you have to answer on Edmodo as well. We will see you guys on Tuesday. Talk to you soon.